We have a series of records. I happen to use a very simple situation. In different years, different clients had certain sales with us. So what we need to do now is we would like to find here in which year, in which client, what were the sales for that client in that year and what were the sales all the years, and then you can do your calculations if you want. We have to be aware that we have to do this with a drop-down box. And this drop-down box finds all the years but only once. And this client box finds all the clients but only once. No repetition. So that is called validation. That validation is based on a list that we put on another sheet. And here is the list of unique years and unique clients, and there are no more clients, so that formula that I copy down, I stop somewhere. What do we need to do in order to make all of this possible? First of all, we need named ranges, and we need a bunch of functions: offset, index, match, count A, and sum product. Let's start with the named ranges. I called column A years. I gave it the name years. You do that through formulas, name manager, and then you start your years, names, sales, etc. And you put a formula in here that I magnified here. It's an offset function, because I don't know how far the list goes, because you keep adding records, you keep deleting records, you need the offset function. The offset function says look in sheet 1 starting in A2, no row offset, no column offset, and find how many rows you have. Count A starting at A2 through A1000. I did 1000, but maybe you want 10,000 or 100,000. I leave that up to you. Then I implemented a second name, clients, and a third name, sales. A similar story on the other sheet. We are going to call column A years list, and I use again an offset function. This one is a little different from the previous one. It starts the same, but then it uses count and then a nested if function. If A2 through A1000 equals nothing, comma, put nothing, otherwise a 1. Okay, and keep counting. That's the years list. Then we have a clients list, and now we are ready to use more complicated formulas. Before we do so, we need to make this drop-down box. It has in it a validation setting, data validation, and it says allow a list, but the source of that list is years list on the other sheet. That was the name we gave to that column, A. Make sure you put an equal sign in front of it. For years list is a range name, it's not a word. And you do the same for Mr. Excel, and it will find everything there. But we are not really ready yet, because that list on the other page needs to be set. I'm going to delete all of this. You create a formula here that is based on an index function that looks in years. And then it uses match, so it will find a row number. Okay, in column 0. Count if A1 absolute locked through A1 not absolute. That means in the next cell it will be A1 through A2, A1 through A3, etc. And compare that with what is in years, comma 0. This is an array function. So when you put that in here, that formula, I did that already for you, make sure that you use Ctrl-Shift-Enter. If you don't, if you just do Ctrl-Enter, you get an error. Click again in the formula bar, Ctrl-Shift-Enter, 2010. Now I can copy that formula down, and it will look for unique years. You can go as far as you want. I will stop here because I don't have more years, but you may want to go much farther if you have many more years, of course. Similar story for B2. It has again an index function, but this time based on the range name clients twice. and it counts B1 absolute or locked through B1 not locked or not absolute. Don't forget Ctrl-Shift-Enter and copy it down as far as you want. So now my list with unique entries are done. So now I can use that list, as I said already, in data, validation. We use that list, very simple. Equals years list or equals clients list. Okay. Now the last puzzles we have left, what were the sales in that year? By the way, I put in there sales in inside double quotes, space, ampersand, space, E2, whatever that year is. But the formula here is a little more complicated. It uses the sum product function. Sum product can do miracles. You can do it with a regular array function, but this does not require an array operation. Sum product years equals E2, which is the year the user had chosen, times clients equals F2, the client they had chosen, times sales. Very simple. You don't have to use Ctrl-Shift-Enter, it's a regular function. But the next one in H2 does use an array function. I use sum if clients is F2, comma, then sum the sales, otherwise sum a 0, add a 0. And use Ctrl-Shift-Enter. So from now on, each time I change that year, the sales in 2010 will update, and if I change another client, it will update again, but of course all years for that company will adjust. That's what all these functions can do for you. It was probably quite a detour, but the message is very simple. If you want to know more about Excel, you can see how powerful Excel is. Even if you don't use VBA and you don't have to program, you can still do miracles. If you need more help, Excel 2007 Expert, 2013 for Scientists, that will also work for 2010. A book on this if you don't like CD-ROMs, but the CD-ROMs are more interactive and more visualized. And I have a book on Excel simulations. Simulations use a lot of array functions. You can find them at genesispc.com. All these tools have helped thousands of Excel users. And you will be next.